guys, welcome back to another Friday Reads. This week we're going to be unhauling a bunch of books. So I've been super inspired by obviously doing these bookish videos, booktube videos. I'm not really sure what to call these. I've been loving them. I found a whole bunch of new booktubers, YouTubers to start watching, and I'm just so excited about these videos. Let me know if you're liking them by giving this one a thumbs up. So I've combed through my shelves, and there's even more than what I'm going to show you here today, and ones that I've gotten rid of recently. But in my community, we actually have a book exchange little like hut. It kind of looks like a birdhouse, but much bigger, and it's a like leave one, take one type of situation. So when you're needing a new book to read, we go up. We typically go every Monday actually, and I bring a handful of books and see what's good. Sometimes there's nothing I want, and sometimes there's a whole bunch of great books, which I will show you maybe in a week or two in a book haul, the newer books to my collection, and some of them did come from that book exchange, which I just love my community. I think that is so fun. They have kids books. Max has been getting a ton of books, and that way someone else can love on the books that I've loved in the past. So these ones I typically had something to say about. I think maybe because a lot of the ones that I have left out in my living room, I still have a stack out there. I didn't really have any reasoning or anything interesting to say about why I'm getting rid of them, but these ones I felt like I did at some point, even if I don't today. But we have a big box of books to go through. So the first one on the top here, this is the 7 Deadly Sins, the first book in the series Lust by Robin Wasserman. I bought this when I was all about like Gossip Girl and then the Gossip Girl books, which I actually have in this box. And this was like in the same part of a secondhand bookstore. I got it for $5.49 at some point, and I never even read this. Like, it just doesn't really seem like good quality literature. Not that that's typically what I'm into, but you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It says Alpha Girl Harper is used to getting what she wants, and that means Adam, Beth's all-American boy toy, blah blah blah, drama, high school, spoiled brat, lots of lust and sex, I'm assuming. And at this point in my life, I'm definitely not going to read it, and especially if in my late teen years I didn't want to read it either. I think that kind of says something. Next up, I have The Girlfriend's Guide to Surviving the First Year of Motherhood. I think my mom gave this to me, which means it's quite old. Let me see when this was published. First edition, October 1997. So this book is very old. This is, yeah, that's quite old for like a parenting book, I feel like. I held on to it. I don't really think I read it even when I had Max. Max is my oldest. He's 7.5 now. And I definitely didn't read it now for Wyatt. So I feel like I don't really need to keep this on hand for if or when we have a third. Like, I'm still not going to read it, and maybe someone else would. Since I was just talking about Gossip Girl, I have these two. I don't even know if You Know You Love Me is the second one. Yeah, it is. So this is the first and second book. This one has the TV cast on the cover and on the back, and this was like the original book series had like faceless girls on them, and I liked these when I got them when I was like maybe 16 or 17, but they're definitely not a book that I'm going to reread, and I'm sure there is a 16 or 17-year-old girl who would enjoy them more than me. And along the same vein in terms of demographic, I had these Lauren Conrad books, and I didn't even like these when I got them. They're just not that great. She says that they're not like autobiographical, but it's about a young girl who moves to LA and becomes a star of a reality show, and she's like this sweet little girl, and then she starts doing things that she wouldn't typically do for the sake of the camera, and she gets kind of spoiled, blah blah blah. I didn't even get the third book in the series because I was just so over it by that point. I wouldn't really recommend them unless you love Lauren Conrad and you love reality TV shows like that. Like, I didn't even watch The Hills. I don't know. I'm not a fan of those types of shows, so I don't know why I thought I would like these types of books, but I bought them, I read them, and now I'm going to hand them on to another teenager who might like them. This is old. I remember buying this at Costco, of all places. You know how they have that like book table in the middle of all the stuff? 2007, yeah. So this just proves that I've always been into makeup. If you didn't know, I do have a beauty channel separate from this one. I just like to keep them separate for whatever reason. I kind of regretted making 2 channels because it's a lot of work to maintain both of them, since I do 4 uploads a week, when really I would like to do 3, but then I felt like it wasn't fair. Anyway, so I do 2 videos on each channel per week, at least I try to. Anyways, I've always been into makeup, and I was obsessed with the show What Not to Wear. And Carmen D was the makeup artist on that show for the longest time. Maybe she still is. Do they even still make that show? I think it's, you know, done for. And this is how I learned how to do makeup. And it is very helpful. So this one here is like colors. Colors that are most flattering for all of skin tones. And look how gorgeous this girl is. Like, she is so beautiful. We have dark skin, like, it's very inclusive. They have all the skin tones, beauty at every age. They have teens, you know, play with color, 20s, dates. They have like right up into your 50s. This model here is from the 50s age range. That was weird. They have, you know, how to do nudes, how to do pinks, things to wear on your wedding day, like, and also actual product recommendations. So here for blondes, it says a highlight that's good for you, Makeup Forever Diamond Cream in number 2. Eyeshadow, MAC eyeshadow in shale, blah blah blah. You get the point. Because this is so dated now, the product recommendations and the colors aren't really on trend anymore, and even so, I know how to do my makeup now. I mean, I know how to do makeup the way I like to do makeup, and now we have YouTube, which in 2007, YouTube was just getting rolling, and I personally did not watch beauty YouTube until 2013. Like, I came across it quite late, okay? I wish I had known about it in high school, but I didn't, so I used this book, and it was great while I had it, but now that I know how I prefer to do makeup, it's not something I want to keep. Carmen D isn't a makeup artist that I have kept up with. It's not something like a Bobbi Brown book or anything like that that has, you know, real value to me. That sounds bitchy, and I'm sorry, but I think a young teen who's just getting into makeup and just wants to learn about makeup would really benefit from this and the simplicity of Carmen D's makeup style, which is a very everyday, natural type of look, and that's not really what I need right now, as you can tell. These books, I'm not really sure if I should get rid of, and maybe you guys can let me know what you think. These 2 are from Our Canadian Girl. Is a series by Penguin. They're for ages 8 to 12. I got these as gifts, and I got this one as a gift too, and I kind of feel like obligated to keep them, even though I'm never going to read them again, but like just in case I have a daughter. I don't know. But at the same time, I'm not planning to have another baby anytime soon. Again, these are for 8 to 12-year-olds. How well are these going to age in another 10 years when I haven't read them in over 10 years? I don't know if that makes sense, and I, of course, could always buy them again, but I have like a weird sentimental value like attached to these, just because This would have been like when I was just falling in love with reading, and they are, you know, Canadian. And because of that, even though they're kind of like historical fiction, a lot of them are set, you know, a long time ago. I feel like how I feel about Anne of Green Gables, I guess. Like, I can relate to these girls because of where the story is taking place. And same with this one. This is Dear Canada, Banished from Our Home, the Acadian Diary of Angelique Richard, from Grand Pre, Acadia in 1755. I got this for Christmas in 2006. How sweet is that? I feel the same way about this. Like, I should hold on to this for sentimental value, even though I personally will not read them again. And maybe I can like collect them. I don't know. What do you think I should do with these 3 books? If I should hold on to them, even if it's just for sentimental value for myself. I feel like it's selfish of me to hold on to them, even though I don't want to give them away, but I feel like a girl who is, you know, in this age range, like late elementary school, would love them more, give them more love than I will give them, but at the same time, I don't want to get rid of them. I don't know. I'm probably making absolutely no sense. I have 2 Nicholas Sparks books. I have The Lucky One and The Best of Me. I really love Nicholas Sparks books when I'm in the mood for such a thing. I'm not really that big into romance, and these are like sweet romances for the most part and not like erotica, basically. And I really do like reading them, but I don't foresee myself rereading them. Like, I enjoyed them while I had them. I gave them the love they deserve. They were read, they were loved by me, and then they sat on my shelf collecting dust. And I know I'm never going to read them because when I pick them up and I read, you know, the synopsis, I remember everything that happens in them, which says a lot. That means the books were great, maybe, and Nicholas Sparks' writing is really memorable for me for whatever reason. But because of that, I won't reread them. Whereas, you know, some fantasy books maybe that I read in the past, I picked them up and I kind of vaguely remember what they were about, and then I will reread them. Or they're like full-on favorites, like Harry Potter. I mean, everybody rereads Harry Potter multiple times, don't they? And that's the same thing with this Jodi Picoult, The Pact. This hit me really hard at the time. I bought this, I think I was in like the last years of high school maybe, and God, this gets you right in the feels. I don't want to say too much about it. It's about a suicide pact, essentially, and they are teenagers, and so there's major trigger warnings for suicide, of course, and there's a lot of deep issues tackled in this book. As with a lot of Jodi's books, I still want to read My Sister's Keeper, which I own. It's on my bookshelves that sitting unread, and that, you know, tackles another big issue. But it was so heavy, I don't see myself wanting to pick this up again. It was really valuable to have read the first time, but I don't know how much value I'd get out of it a second time besides just making myself cry. I have The Vampire Diaries. I think this is 1 and 2, or maybe it's just 1 book, by L.J. Smith, The Awakening and the Struggle. I, of course, love The Vampire Diaries show. I wanted to pick up the book and read it, and this is very, very similar to the show. Like, the show follows this book pretty closely, but I didn't really feel the need to continue reading the book series when I picked this up knowing I loved the show. And I don't really like doing things backwards like that, I guess you can say. Like, if there's a movie coming out of a book that, and the movie trailer maybe looks super interesting to me, I will read the book first and then watch the movie. I rarely do it the other way around, and that's kind of what happened here. I watched the show first and then went into reading this book, so I already know what happens, even though I'm sure the show varies from the story in the books. But I just know I'm not going to continue reading them, and someone else can get use out of that. This is a novella from A House of Night series. I loved this series in my late teens. Like, maybe 18, 19, I had pretty much the whole thing, but it's one of those series that just keeps getting bigger, and I kind of grew out of it. And this is Lenobia's Vow. I don't know who of my friends or family took the House of Night series from me to read, but they didn't want the novella for whatever reason. And I mean, it's only useful to those who are going to read the rest of the series, so I can't even give it to them like in a pack. But maybe someone has the rest of the series or likes it and wants to pick up this novella. It was nice, and novellas are, you know, short, easy reads. And the last two books I'm giving away, I reviewed these in what I've read so far in 2018. You know, the intro to my Friday Read series. Hated this book, DNF'd it, will never pick it up again, do not recommend. You can watch that video if you want to see me rant about it a little bit more. And this is not something I will reread, and I didn't really enjoy all that much the first time. Although it tries to tackle a lot of mental health issues such as anxiety and stuff like that, it just didn't do a good job in my opinion. A boy does not solve all of your problems when you have serious mental health issues. You do not need a boy to come save you if you're struggling, and that's what this book says, in my opinion. So those are all of the books that I want to get rid of or plan on getting rid of. I'm going to try and trade them in at my local consignment bookshop and trade them in for some new reads, and if they don't want them, then I will just continue, you know, take one and leave one in my community book exchange. I really love that program we have going on. What books have you recently unhauled from your shelves? I'd love to know.